Oh, duh. Tung, tung, tung. Is this thing on? Who knows? Um, yeah, so Monday. Monday, I'm usually full of beans and I get lots done, but today, not so much. Um, I didn't have a tiring weekend. In fact, I did some cleaning up around the house, which is long overdue, and I didn't do too much of it. I managed to get the kitchen and this room done before I ran out of spoons entirely. Um, yeah, I'm getting old. See, it's tricky when you're a singleton because you have to do everything yourself. You don't split any tasks in half, including paying for bills and stuff. It's like, if I had a partner in the house who was like, this room needs tidying up, I'd like, shall we do a room each or shall we do half each or something? That would be much easier for all of us. But unfortunately, I've got to do it all myself, and sometimes I think, why even bother? Um, because I've got other things that I need to be doing, such as work and stuff. I've got quite a bit of work on, and I've got another job to do tonight after this chat. I see we have one Persian viewing. You may be Persian, I don't know. Um, Whoever you are, if you're lurking, that's fine. I'd rather you say hi in the chat so I know who's there. I have usually around between 5 and 10 people regulars who come in on the chat there to say hello, which is cool. So hello, whoever you are. Um, this is one of those times, like many of my live chats, where I don't have a reason really to talk about stuff. So I do rely on conversations in the chat box, which would be very cool, and that keeps the thing going. But sometimes I do need a wee bit of company, even in a virtual form. So it's nice to chat to people. We have 2 viewers. Maybe it's even me. I don't know. I do tend to watch cool. myself on my channel to make sure that that keeps the thing. My channel's actually working, and my software nowadays um, won't let me sign into chat, which is weird. But I can see the chat on the other window as well, so that's handy. It's Matthew H5862. Catchy name. How's the droid build going? I have it over there on the table. I will be showing that as soon as we get a few more bods, so I don't have to repeat myself. Do you know what I mean? In other news, what was I going to say? Did you see the thing I posted about Nathan Fillion teasing about some kind of Firefly reboot or meetup or event or something? He's calling in all the cast members and saying it's happening, and nobody knows what it is. He has said it's not a podcast, a convention or something. So it's like, what could it be? What could it be? I don't imagine it's going to be, you know, a, a full-on reboot or a movie or a get-together with Joss Whedon and stuff. I've got a lot to say about Joss Whedon. I don't want to give him, I don't want to give him a free pass for some of the shitty things he's done. But in the grand scheme of things, he's done things that are attributable to people like Stanley Kubrick, James Cameron, and other slightly, tyrannical. I'm wondering if it's some kind of special, a documentary. Him and Alan Tudyk just did a podcast. They joined Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes podcast and had a really good chat about Firefly and Star Trek and all this kind of stuff and fandom and whatever. And they're like, oh, well, you got to come onto our podcast now. Once We Were Spacemen. So I'm wondering if they'll just do a Once We Were Spacemen sort of mega podcast. But they did say it's not a podcast. So, Buffy is being done without the input of Joss Whedon now somehow. And I don't think Firefly can be done properly without Joss Whedon. And while, like I say, I'm not trying to give him a pass for some of the crappy stuff he did to female cast members. And I must stress here, he didn't do anything Epstein-y, and he didn't do anything extremely inappropriate, that kind of thing. If most of the allegations, and I'm willing to bring them up if I need to go through them, is just bullying and being mean. Um, and again, mostly directed at female actors. I don't think there were any male actors who bore the brunt of his bullying. Um, he is a very interesting individual, and it's hard for me to hate him 100% because he's he's a long-standing genius, and I don't care what people. He ruined Justice League. He was given scraps and asked to make it better. So it's not like he shot it from the beginning. Yeah, it wasn't a great film, but he was brought in to give it more of Joss Whedonness. And it's not that he's a terrible filmmaker, because he managed to pull off Avengers and Age of Ultron and Serenity, which were all really good films. So it's not that. I think the Snyderverse people are very looking for someone to blame other than Snyder, obviously. So Joss is next in the firing line. Um, I, as far as I am aware, everyone on Firefly, everyone who's ever worked on Firefly, said it was the best job they've ever had, and he's amazing. And they all had really good times on screen and off screen, and going around Joss's house in the evening to read Shakespeare and stuff, which he did with the Buffy cast as well. Um, and no one has said on Firefly that he was horrible. So is that a possible thing? They could just say, look, it's been long enough. He's been out in the cold long enough. He's been cancelled. He's obviously bore the brunt of all the hatred and stuff. And yes, anyone who's got an axe to grind with him is free not to work with him ever again and speak their truth, their story. Um, but at the same time, I think maybe he suffered enough. He hasn't committed any crimes. He hasn't been charged with anything. Um, when I talk about Joss Whedon, I always talk about the thing that people get wrong, which is they say, "Oh, well, apparently there must have been something going on because he was told that he was never supposed to be left in a room with the late great Michelle Trachtenberg again," and that was only because he dragged her into his office to give her a shouting at without her mother being present. That's all it was. And she was very upset, obviously. Joss felt he was justified in doing that because she was making life difficult for James Masters by fangirling over him constantly. And he dragged her into the office and gave her a mouthful and basically, um, basically said, leave James alone. And she came out of there in tears, and everyone was like, what an evil man Joss is, it was not a nice thing to do. Of course it wasn't. But his mother had said to everyone, make sure that Joss never gets Michelle alone in his office again. And it was nothing, you know, molesty. It was just, bullying and stuff, which I don't condone. We've all had bosses who have been absolute tools at times, and we've had people we like to work with and people we don't like to work with. And Joss falls right in the middle, doesn't he? Because all the cast have said they've had the best time on Firefly and Serenity. Yet, a lot of the Buffy and Angel type people, and obviously the later stuff, nothing from Marvel really. I don't think Scarlett Johansson's ever said anything about him. But from the Snyder stuff onwards, he for whatever reason, whether it's he just got tired, had enough of things, etc., etc. Is there something behind? Don't say that, mate. Oh yeah, I can see the light behind me. It's basically my living room window. I don't know if you can see it over there, and it overlooks a crossroads. So don't put the Jesus willies up me. No, that sounds wrong. Yeah, you can see it. You can see some traffic sort of moving around. Usually see replacement bus services doing around the corner. Yeah, that's a creepy thing. We're down to 2 viewers, which is probably yourself, Matt, and me on the other monitor, just checking that's going on. Um, yeah, so just quick jump over to Facebook and see if I got any messages. No, as far as I know. Um, oh, three viewers, so someone else has jumped in. If you've just joined us, say hello. I've just been having uh, a talk about my feelings on Joss Whedon. Yeah, it weirds me out as well. I should have the lights on if I kind of just about make it out. Yeah, so tomorrow at 1:30 I've got to go up to Newbridge again and get my fixed eye looked at. Um, Last week I went to see them and I said I've got a strange out of focus section right in the middle of my eye, which I've had super strong steroid eye drops, two different types, and it's still there. I can see it moving around, but I think it's fading away slowly. It's an inflammation more than anything. So that's handy, and I've got a very cute optician. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, she's married, which is a shame. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, when my eyes are actually sorted, let's go for a drink. I could come up with some really, really bad optician-based chat-up line. I only have eyes for you, or something like that. Or, are you seeing anyone? Because I'm seeing someone cute right now. Would you like to see me a bit more often? That kind of nonsense. Um, yeah. So, four viewers now. Hello. So, obviously, there's probably me, Matt, and maybe some other people having a bit of a look, which is fine because I've had a few more people join up to the thing. I should really celebrate that I'm now up to 690 subscribers. So I've had maybe 10 subscribers in the last week and a bit, which is good. It's great. It's almost one a day. I would love to get to 1,000 at some point just to see what happens. I've said this many times. I did look into it actually, and I said if you get 1,000 subscribers, it's not that the number of subscribers brings the money in. It's how long they watch for, and obviously the longer time people spend watching your videos, if you've got more people watching, then obviously the hours start racking up. And I think it's something like, oh God, what was it? It was, I don't know, I think it was like £12 a month or something, which is peanuts, but that's £12 a month I'd be really grateful for, you know what I mean? People have said, oh, just do a Patreon. All the other YouTubers do Patreons. Firstly, I don't think I've got enough people willing to do Patreon and sort of pay monthly to see nonsense. I don't think I've got the time to maintain a Patreon and send, patron only special content and stuff in advance to people. That's a whole different, it's sort of like running another social media platform all on your own. I don't really have the time to do that just yet. Yeah, the algorithm thing is like I've said before, man. It's like having a locomotive, and you've got to keep shoveling coal in, otherwise your train slows down, right? So, do you know what? A lot of people find me via my little shorts. When I do a little quick thing to camera and go, "Hello, everyone. We're going to be doing this later on, so join me." Like that, I get a lot of views on those. Sometimes they go up to like 1,700 people, 1.7k and all this kind of stuff, and some of those people move on to subscribing to my channel, which is great. I'm hoping the big bot bash has brought a few people in, because there's quite a lot of people this year joining it. I've tagged a few people, and I've mentioned on Bill's channel and on his Instagram that I'm doing it. And that comes from a mate who was quite successful on YouTube, went to their offices and got insights there. Ooh. That's cool. I wonder who that was. I think I said this before. There was a guy I used to follow on it. One of the first YouTubers I actually followed was a Welsh guy called Adam Roach. He used to go by the name of The Gears Keep Turning, or Adam Gears. And I found his. He's not on YouTube really anymore. Um, he do a lot of stuff straight to camera with loads of edits, and I think he kind of inspired me to start a channel. I met him once in person. He took some photos of me dressed as Jack Sparrow, and he did a video for me as I was as Jack Sparrow, and he is on LinkedIn, but I don't know if he does YouTube anymore. And again, who knows with YouTubers? He may have had a good reason to not do it anymore. He may have done something wrong. I don't know. I don't know at all. But that's just the fact of the matter. I think my YouTube channel here is essentially my last-ditch panic attempt to leave some video footage of myself behind for the future, if and when I kick the bucket. My mate came round yesterday, which is why I couldn't live stream, but he was telling me that his little brother, I say his little brother just turned 51, but I always think of him as little Stu. And he said his brother's mate just dropped dead of a heart attack, and it just hits home how quickly people can go. I mean, none of us know what's around the corner. So I'm going to have this said now. People don't like AI. A lot of people don't like AI, but I will say, if in the far future, my kids or anybody wants to take all this footage of me from my YouTube channel to generate some kind of holographic me, or like a chat bot with my name and face, like Max Headroom, long after my death, I'm more than happy to let them do that. I don't care. It'll be great. Because I'm into futuristic stuff, you know. I don't want to get into the pro and anti-AI chat thing because there are so many things to talk about, and it's so divisive amongst people. It's one of the things that I kind of avoid. I mean, with politics, you can kind of find your way through the forest and go, well, at the end of the day, you've got to boil it down to what's right and wrong. But then people are still going to have differing beliefs, aren't they? Religion, well, you know my thoughts on religion. I guess I've always said, if you subscribe to a religion and you feel that it makes you a better person, great, awesome. I personally don't think having a religion will make me feel any better about myself, because it didn't when I felt religious, or felt I had some kind of faith. And then as soon as I let go of that and said, actually, nah, I felt like a weight was lifted off me. So that's what works for me. And if it works for you, then fair enough. You know I've got a couple of friends who are very nice, very supportive, very intelligent individuals who do follow religion in different versions. And I sometimes do wonder why, why they need it if they're well-rounded individuals, but I guess they do need it, and they do enjoy it. So that's that. God, I went a bit deep then, didn't we? Shall I get me robot bits? I'll show you the big bot stuff that I've been building. Okay. Whoops. It's okay. Nothing's broken. Okay, right. So, I've made quite a bit of progress, considering it's only the 2nd of March, and the deadline is the 27th, but I know I'll slow down at some point. So, let's start off with the head. Here's me head. Now, I forget who chose the category, but the category for head was vacant. So it needed to have a kind of a vacant stare. So here's the head. You see it's a clear bit of plastic. I've drilled 2 holes for eyes up there, up the top. I've got some metal bits on the side. He looks very General Grievous, doesn't he, with those ears? And the back part is from a bicycle light with a clip. I can't remember what the front is for. I think it might be a cockpit for a spaceship or a car or something like that. But the 2 bits are glued together. I've got underneath that's a piece of plastic, but within that piece of plastic, can you see it here? Yeah, you can see a wooden Scrabble tile, which I rounded off to match the plastic and glued all that in. So that's the head. I might add more to it. I think I might do something with this gap up here, and maybe fill some more gaps that are sort of around here. But what I have done, I've drilled holes there and there and up the side. I've basically put holes and stuff in because I'm going to have loads of wires going from the head down into the body. Now also, as I was drilling part of it, yeah, it's got that Ultron vibe, hasn't it? Definitely. As I was drilling a hole into the back of the head there to put the neck in, I started looking at this way and going, "Oh, is this the head?" I mean, it's like these two holes could be eyes, and that's like a little snouty nose. So it's a kind of a long head like that. That's a bit piggish, and he's got almost a kind of it's almost like an Elvis quiff, you know. Quite cute, but this is an assassin droid, so I think I'll stick with the original head there. So, body. Let's move on to the body. It's in two halves, top and bottom. The top half is made of a grey thingy bowl, Christmas pudding bowl. That yellow is some EVA foam, which glues really well to horrible type plastic that doesn't take glue very well. But tip from Bill, making stuff, super glue EVA foam to stuff, and it'll stick anything to anything. Then we've got this kind of raised collar at the back thing here, and a selfie stick pivot, which is going to be the neck. Again, drilled some holes in there and there to put wires through. I'm going to change this. I'll get rid of this little screw thing and put a pin through his neck. And I've glued a thing on the back just because it looks like a backpack. I've got to fill in all these holes with extra stuff. I'll probably use more of this blue plastic. But I think that looks pretty good, so I can pop the head on. So that pops in there. I'll probably glue it in place. But now it's looking like the teacher from another brick in the wall. You know, we don't need nobody. You know, if I sort this pin out tight enough, I can have a little bit of posability. You'll have all these wires and probably a few more greeblies in there. I'll probably glue some more stuff around here and obviously detail the body up. But the thing for the body, the category for the body was spikes. So I need to get some spikes onto him. I'll probably just leave them to the back so they don't get in the way of anything. So he will have spikes on him somehow. Now the bottom half of his body is another tube, another, whatchamacallit, pudding bowl. Let me just disconnect some bits so we can go through it methodically. So the bottom part, again, another Christmas pudding bowl. I've stuck a colour scheme. No, I haven't, but because he's an assassin, I think he needs to be either kind of like a military camouflage, or I did see a ninja figure today that had like rope and bullets and stuff crisscrossed across his chest, and he was all obviously in dark black and silver. Maybe he's got to be assassin droid you'd expect to be in, like, you know, dark colours to sneak around like a ninja, you know. So this is more EVA foam, which helps glue that to that. I've used a screw, actually. I've used 2 screws there to go right through. So it's in quite tight, and I've used a lot of super glue and baking powder to make soda glue, as they say. And this is obviously one of those head-mounted lights that would go on your head, you know, with the LED lights. But this is going to be the pelvis, so he's got this thin pelvis thing in it. It still clicks, but I've taken all the gubbins out. Urban camouflage. Do you remember the days of urban camouflage? I once had a pair of urban camo trousers, and I think from the same guy I had a pair of troop trainers as well, and I was loving it. That was around the Public Enemy days, right? So in the pelvis, I filmed all this, so hopefully we'll be able to, the final video at the end of the month, I'll show all the assembly. But this is actually part of a giant booster rocket. So that fits perfectly right through there. So that's our pivot. I don't know if it'll be glued into place so nothing moves, or will I try and leave some of the things, posable. So the legs, the top half of the legs, the category for legs was chunky. I see we've got 4 people watching, including us two. Say hi in the chat, and we'll keep going. Nice to see you. So chunky. I had these things which were basically Justice League, Superman punching type things, with they had extendable tubes or something in here with fists on the end or whatever. So I ripped the stuff out, sealed the top using Yumi Toys badges. Yumi Toys is run by a friend of mine. That's a geek walk, by the way. And there's a side thing there, so I've drilled that to the right size. I've filled in the Justice League badge with super glue and baking soda, which I'm going to sand down, and I made a bit of a hole there to mount the rest of the legs, but they fit bang on there. I've got another one here, so his legs are going to be chunky. Come on, no, oop. Yeah, one side is tighter than the other, so that's good. The tighter the better, in fact. Get in there. He doesn't want to go in. Hang on. Let's take that one off. Right, get in there. Come on. Maybe it's the other side. There we go. Maybe this side's slightly bigger. Anyway, that goes in there. So from the front, we've got this kind of thing going on. Chunky thighs. I've got to make chunky bottom legs as well, and feet. And is that the front? Yeah, that's the front. And the back has got this sort of socket thing at the back there, which is, I don't know what to do. It looks cool already. I might not even detail that up. It's all right. And obviously that will end up, I'm going to keep these separate for now while I'm working on them, but that goes onto there. Line up the marks. So it's very Star Wars General Grievous battle droid type thing at the moment. He's going to have spikes on the back, chunky thighs. So he's going to be tall. I mean, from goodness me, if I do chunky-ish legs, yeah, that's about 14 inches tall. I did think I'd end up making a robot this big, but I was looking at my pieces, and like I said in the video, you've got to kind of go with the scale of the stuff you've got. And although I've got 2 boxes and numerous bags of Greeblies upstairs, I can't find much else that I can use. So I might have to go out on a kind of fact-finding mission at some point, go to some charity shops and pick up some toys and find some more interesting shapes. Well, obviously I'm going to detail all this up and do stuff to it. I still need shoulder mounts. I've got some holes in the sides. Shoulder mounts. I've been working on feet. I'm not in love with the feet right now, but I'll show you what I've done. I got one of these white boxes that you have your phone sockets in for internet and stuff, and I glued in a plastic chip, like a poker chip. Just put some plastic underneath to support it, to round up the front of the foot. And on the back I've put another selfie stick pivot point. That's super glued in, as well as using the screw as well, but that's not going anywhere. I did point out in one of my videos that I quite like these metal things from a suitcase, and maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm going to build this up as well. He's not just going to have a flat bit on his toe, and I don't like the squareness of the foot at the moment. It's just a wee bit boring. I want to put something at the back. I want to put something on the sides. I'm going to have the feet as chunky as the legs, really, but I could move that forward like that and then build something up in between. Do you know what I mean? I just want to get away from this square and circle shape. But I've done both of those. Both of those feet are done. Now the last bit that I've started on is because I was an assassin, doing an assassin. I thought I'd start making him like a sniper rifle, a really big sniper rifle. So, this is what I got so far. That's a biro, pen, jobby. All the orange stuff is from inside of Nerf guns. So that's a kind of the butt at the back, and we've got a long sort of rifle thing. That looks like sights. I quite like that. I'm probably going to put this plastic piece underneath, like maybe like that, you know, and then we've got to have like a handle down here somewhere. Then I found this other piece of a Nerf gun, which does look very much like a telescopic sight. So imagine that sort of mounted on top like this. That might be quite nice, you know. I did find this, which is some kind of I can't remember what it is. It's like a extendable thing. I can't remember where it came from, but I might put that underneath, you know, cut that down, the rod, and stick that underneath so it's, oh, wrong way around on the camera. Something like that, you know, to make it a bit chunkier. So it's going to be a big ass ABC Warriors gun, you know. I might write FOAD on the side. Yeah, Biz was here. So that's how the Big Bot Bash has come along. That's the sneak preview, because at the end of the day, I've decided to do what most people are doing and put the final video out on the day of the deadline, the 27th of March, and then people will get to see how I put it together, the final reveal, the paint job and everything. He's going to be big. He's going to be like, I'd say about 14 inches. It's like way big. I suppose it would be like a long-legged 1/6 scale. Like, you know, it would be in keeping with like an Action Man, which is kind of roughly 1/6 scale. But he would obviously be, in real life, if he was next to a real 6 foot tall guy, he'd be about 7 or 8 feet tall. So yeah, the arms are going to be very long, because the category for arms was drag. So I'm going to have maybe 2 or 3 sections on the arms, like double elbows, to have him really long arms. I don't know how he'll hold the gun. We'll work that out when we come to it. But I'm running out of pieces that that don't inspire me, you know. So I need to go out and look at some charity shops. There are at least 2 charity shops in Newbridge, and if I'm going there tomorrow for 1:30, I should probably get on an earlier bus and have a look in charity shops, right? Might be an idea. What else? Let's talk a bit about hip hop. I've now got folders of beats, loops, anything. You know, I was given a stack of CDs and I was going through them, even stuff I don't like, because you know what happens. You sometimes you hear a tiny clip and go, ooh, I like that, loop that. Pound shop, yes, I need to go to Poundland in Blackwood. I don't think there's one in Newbridge, but I do go via Blackwood to get to Newbridge. I've got to get off and change buses, so that's worth doing. Pound shop is always handy, you know. The Bill making stuff, and Greg Johnson and Dan Does, they just go crazy in Poundland, and they just buy everything up. Good place to get EVA foam, little, you know, thin bits of funky foam that you can use, and you know, wooden Scrabble tiles and stickers and all kinds of stuff, and cheap spray paint, primer, etc. Yeah, I went through some CDs, and I've got loads of little clips and sounds and stuff now, and there's all sorts of stuff. I think my problem is, I've said this before, choice paralysis. I've now gathered together a collection of so many potential ideas, at least musical ideas, not lyrical but musical, that I've got almost. I need to just pick one and just say, right, I'm going with this. I did find a really cool loop on an album that I did the artwork for, a good 2012. It was a prog rock album, and it sold really well around the world. It's a collaboration between a Welsh guy and a guy from the Ukraine, who's still managing to make music to this day, regardless of what's going on in the Ukraine. So I might ask the pair of them's permission to use a little clip from one of these tracks, because it's quite a nice musical loop that I can use, you know, sort of 4-bar loop. Um, I do have ideas for, like, I want to do an EP. I don't think I've got enough spoons in me to do an album. And of course, I won't be gigging this. I won't be Tobyist type thing, just sticking it out, uh, without a label or anything. I'll just try and get it onto YouTube and maybe SoundCloud or something. I'd love to do Bandcamp, but I don't think that's going to work. I think a lot of my stuff will be reliant on samples that we all know and love, because I like that kind of familiarity you get. I mean, I listen to Street Sounds radio all the time, and I love the when you get something that takes you back to '85 and you go, oh, it's a classic, and everyone's used the same scratch sounds and everyone's used the same uh, stabs and loops and beats and stuff. There's a lot to be said for innovating completely from scratch and doing stuff like that. But I think my vibe seems to be firmly rooted in the '80s era. Pre-gangster rap, that kind of stuff that makes me feel good. I don't have the skills or the experience to do anything quote unquote modern. I don't think I could. What have we got? I can put it together. I'll take it to Lennis. Yeah, what I think I'll do is I'll gather together the track as best I can. I don't really have audio software here to put the track together and just take that down to the studio to do vocals. I think what I'll probably do is use things like Audacity, take all the samples and everything down to the studio and say, right, can we slap this together exactly like I've got it? And then the scary bit for me, which used to be the fun bit for me, which was sitting down and writing lyrics, is scary for me now because I haven't done it for such a long time. And well, I could do a 10-hour video about the reasons I haven't kept up with making music and stuff, and it's to do with self-confidence, self-belief, the whole thing about when you're young and you're driven and motivated and angry and even egotistical and stuff, you enjoy speaking your mind and doing all the rap stuff that you love, and talking about how you're the coolest the stars. A lot of the old school rappers call themselves, I rap on a mic so viciously. There's lots of viciously stuff going on, but they it's hard to write stuff now. I'm a little bit older and wiser, and I don't know what I can legitimately write about without feeling like a fraud. It's kind of like I'm not going to be talking about how I can tear you apart on the mic and I'll battle anybody, and it's like, because I don't believe that about myself. It's just silly. But at the same time, I don't want the rhymes to be boring. Yeah, it's muscle memory and stuff. I think I've got a lot of internal demons to wrestle with before I can put something down in the form of lyrics and vocals. But who knows? Who knows? I definitely want to do it. I do miss the musical side of things, and I think if I did an EP, it would be the most varied EP ever, because it would have maybe four songs on it that would be totally different from each other. The one song might be more traditional, kind of serious rhymes. Another one might be a little bit more kind of whimsical, thinking along the lines of the stuff like the native tongues, the De La Soul, that kind of stuff, or maybe there may be a tough one like an Ice-T tune or a Public Enemy tune, but it's because we've all got these sort of weird personalities going on in our heads. Emma, hello, miss. How you doing? How you feeling? Haven't seen you for a long time. I've just done a talk about my robot, and you missed it, Emma, because you picked one of the categories, didn't you? I do have the robot here. I can't remember which one you picked, but I was just going through. When you watch it on the replay, if you watch it on the replay, you'll get to see I talk through what I've done so far with this robot. in all its pieces. Chunky legs, that's only the thighs basically, I've got the bottom half to do. A body that's going to have spikes on it, a face that's vacant, the general assassin vibe, and the arms will be dragged, so there'll be very long arms. But he's coming together good. I mean, at the moment I'm keeping him separate and gluing him all together for the end of the month kind of thing. Any road, as I was saying, back about music. I mean, at the end of the day, MR, you're a singist. You're a very good singist and an actist. You know, you should actually, maybe I should find a way to make use of you on a rap track, because we've never done anything together, have we, music-wise? That would be good. I don't know. So yeah, I do want to do. Maybe this year would be good. I've missed. I've missed my 40-year anniversary because I started rapping in '85. So 2025 would have been my 40th. 40 years since I started. Not like I've been going for 40 years solidly. Yeah, exactly right. I miss recording too. I just love it. And I think one of my big regrets, along with not being a stand-up comedian, is that I never seriously sat down and asked Lennis or anybody to right, teach me how to produce and how to use a desk and how to. I mean, I can direct. Yeah, I can produce I have produced songs in the way of. Because a producer sometimes has an engineer who's doing all the button pushing. So I can direct a song and I say I need more of this and less of that, etc., etc. Fingers crossed. I'll hold. I'm going to get my eyes looked at again tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully you can join life again because we've got lots of catching up to do. And pizza. So and Pushing Daisies. I've got the Pushing Daisies on DVD here. Yeah, so I can produce a song in terms of directing an engineer to give me what I want, but I can't sit there and operate the racks and operate the desk as good as I'd like to. Will do. So yeah, I mean, an EP would be fun. I think, like everything I do, whatever I put out into the universe will be received with 50% appreciation, encouragement, and 50% I hate you, you're a fraud, you're an idiot, who do you think you are, why don't you just sod off? So I've got to come to terms with that. I know you're not supposed to let the B words grind you down, but I do occasionally. I think everyone, to a certain extent, worries about how they're perceived in the world, and I honestly don't think I'm as bad as the pots of toss make me out to be. If I was, I mean, Matt, we've only met up like once or twice, possibly in person, and you've known me online for a couple of years, and I like to think that, along with some of the other Cardiff rap fraternity, such as Keltec, Johnny, and you're going further back, people like Fordy, they've all been cool, and if I was just as much of a pot of toss as some of these haters, then I'm sure I'd been called out by it by now, and I wouldn't be having these people as friends, because they'd be like, he's a twat, but I don't believe I'm a twat, so I do feel I'm being unfairly criticised for something that I can't remember even doing, by someone who's got a very empty life and just feels the need to constantly bash me because they've got a very tiny brain. So I'm not going to stop creating stuff. I have to create. It's the only thing that brings me joy, right? Admittedly, the Big Bot Bash has excited me so much. Oh, thanks, Emma. Next message comes up. You're a twat in capitals. Um, the Big Bot Bash has excited me to the point where I know I have already put other projects on the shelf, such as the Marvin kit, which I will be definitely finishing because I really want to see that finished. The little Tim Burton weirdo cost character that I did. I've even written a book. I've written it, just not illustrated it. A book all about this weirdo character, and it's a great little kids book. The sequel to always the sequel to Monsters Next Door is written, and I've done the cover, but I have not done any of the illustrations, so that would take me about a month to do. I've got a project, I think I said this before. I started building a scale model of the Lars homestead in about 2010, and I was kindly given a wad of cash by a kind American who said, if you get this thing finished, I want the first one. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. Much appreciated. And I still have half of it upstairs. So that's, it's over 10 years now. It's good. It's in good nick. It's not like unsalvageable, but I've got to just get my head on and get these things finished. I've just about finished a third Blake 7 gun, which is going straight on eBay because I need some money. eBay has been my lifeline at the moment, weirdly. I'm hoping that keeps going because I don't claim benefits or anything. But the money I bring in is not as... One of my regular art clients was a guy called Andy Stevens. Yeah, I've got to do the Lars Homestead. It looks good. It just needs tidying up, and the idea is potentially sort of make a mold so I can knock out a couple of them and paint them up nice. But Andy Stevens was the guy who ran Gloucester Prison and let me use it for Mummified, and he passed away last year, and I was getting regular work from him, and now there is nothing. I said this to the woman at Universal Credit. She's like, "Oh, can you put your prices up?" I said, "Well, at the moment, my second biggest client has been given a couple of weeks to live. So shall I tell him he's being, very very mean to me by dying? They don't care. Of course they don't. So yeah, I need to. Do you know what? I think I'm going to get my hair cut, mate. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love having long hair. My mum wouldn't let me have long hair when I was a kid. I was like, it was short back and sides ever since I was a kid, and now I've got long hair, and I still probably have a bald patch here, I've got like a double crown which looks like a bald patch. And my hair's getting thinner, but both my brothers are completely bald, so I am chuffed that I've still got a bit of Jeff Bridges going on. Like, I could even do Londo Malari now. I know the light isn't here, but I could even do Londo Malari. It would be great. I do like having long hair, and the thing is, there's no way of keeping it tidy at all. I haven't got a style. I haven't got a fixed way of doing it. It's just wash it and let it. All I can do is kind of do that with it, and stick a brush through it. But it hangs out the back. I can even do a ponytail now. I'm 57, and I've finally got a ponytail. It's hat days when it's unkempt. You're right. And it's kind of like when I've got the ponytail thing going on, or even with a baseball cap on with his hair stuffed out, all out the back when I got my cap on. It just reminds me of Ice-T in breaking, breakdance, when he had long hair. Ram pays for my food every night and day. He pays my rent, my bills. I guess I'm doing okay. But when I say Ram pays, I mean in different ways, because rapping gets a lot of kids out of the street these days. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Rhyme Pays is a great tune, though, isn't it? It hasn't aged, really. I think it's awesome. What's other Ice-T? Squeeze the Trigger. That's a classic. New Jack Hustler. He's had some bangers, let's face it. I wouldn't say he's had as many bangers as LL Cool J. They used to have a feud, but they're okay now. But we all had our favourites when it came to rap music, didn't we? Matt, who was your main dude? Who was your main dude or group? Or like that's because with me it was like Run DMC, with Houdini a close second, and then LL Cool J as like a um, personal inspiration for me to start rapping. I did. I named myself T with a double E, from MCT from Mantronics. Um, I know T La Rock's real name is Terry because he mentions it in Breaking Bells, doesn't he? Um, but I went with the T double E because I like the sound of it. But I did mention a couple of years ago that I discovered that MCT from Mantronics got uh, served time in jail for being a bit of a wrong'un, and I did say that I was going to go with Rapster T with just a T to drop the double E because of what he's done, because that's a little bit unsavory. So we'll see how that pans out with the proposed EP, at all possible. I've already got a title for the EP, but I don't know if I'm going to do a song based on that title. The title for the EP is Point of View, which is taken from my opening line in United Colours where I said, my point of view is strong and yo, we got it going on. Run DMC, Rakim, Ultramagnetic MCs, Beastie Boys, yeah. What's the Travelling at the Speed of Thought? The one that uses the Rolling Stones beat. That's a great beat, that is. MC Ultra, Magnetic Ultra. Yeah. Rakim was just like untouchable. Him and like Big Daddy Kane, you listen to some of their stuff and you're like, I'm going to just give up the microphone right now. These guys are just a bomb. And I love the early Beastie Boys. When Paul's Boutique came out, I was like, what the hell's this? You know, I like the Rick Rubin stuff, obviously. I don't really rate the Beastie Boys very much anymore. I'll give them their props for lasting as long as they have, but they haven't done anything. Even Intergalactic and Sabotage hasn't really done it for me, like the License to Ill stuff, you know. But still, you know, Run DMC, Houdini. Now, my mate Sire, he was always like Run DMC, Big Daddy Kane, and Steady B, and I used to take the Michael out of him religiously for Steady B because I always thought Steady B looked a bit weird. He was like, you know, posing against a brick wall with his hat and his huge glasses, and yeah, dude's a real life thug. I don't even know if he's still alive. I know he's like got into. So I think I need to check if Steady B's still with us because I know he got into like serious crime and armed robbery and stuff. You probably know this anyway, Matt. Yeah, he's still alive. He's 56. Isn't it weird? Some of these rappers are like younger than me. Yeah, he still looks a bit weird. What happened to the rap careers of Steady B and Cool C? Yeah, I'm guessing. I won't go through the whole Wikipedia now, but yeah, he's his real name is Warren McGlone. He's in. Is he still in prison? Let's have a look. Oh, he's serving a life sentence. Yeah, MC Boob as well. What a terrible name. Yeah, and his album cover, you know, was it What's My Name? What it was called, and it was like badly airbrushed against bricks and stuff, and it's just really horrible. And I used to take the mic. I mean, some of his songs are good. I'll give him that, you know. But he's currently serving a life sentence in a Pennsylvania state prison for his role in the murder of Philadelphia police officer Loretha Verde during a botched bank robbery in 1996. Ah, dude. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, regardless, I mean, he obviously did it because he thought, I need the money. Him and Cool C and another rapper, Mark Canty, attempted a bank robbery in Philadelphia. Steady B was the getaway driver in a stolen minivan. The police officer was shot and killed by Cool C. She was an African American woman as well and a single mother of two, which is very tragic. He was arrested in his apartment. 2 handguns were left at the scene by Cool C and Canty, including the murder weapon, were traced back to Steady B, and he eventually confessed to his role in the crimes. Dang. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Cool C's on death row, is he? Oh, man. I mean, I can understand when bands get to... Look at Houdini, right? Yes, Ecstasy passed away a couple of years ago. His voice was just incredible. I loved Ecstasy from Houdini, and it's you think he did so much good stuff, and albums. What has he done? 4 albums, five albums, and then he did an album called Counting Endless Bank, and then you go and decide to rob a bank, and then get yourself banged up for murder for life. Oh, what a fool! Meanwhile, I guess because I used to take the Michael out of Steady B, LL Cool J is an elder statesman and so far hasn't put a foot wrong. Run DMC were okay, obviously apart from the passing of Jam Master Jay and all that kind of stuff, and Dee's throat problems with spasmodic dysphonia. Why did that make me cough? And Houdini, obviously, they got their Houdini got like a Hip Hop Hall of Fame, is it, or was it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finally? And because they did a whole Houdini sort of tribute concert after Ecstasy passed away. But yeah. I mean, even Rakim's not doing. The 80s rappers are not massively prevalent now. I mean, LL Cool J is probably the what do you call it, the exception there, because he just did that tune with Murdergram Part 2 with Eminem, which is amazing. Give him that. How old's LL? He's got to be in his 60s. No, he's 58, so he's a year older than me. Man, I used to think LL Cool J was quite young because he started when he was 16, didn't he? With radio and all that, and Rick Rubin. But 58 doesn't seem that old, especially because I'm 58 this year. Has he won? Excuse me. He's done 14 albums. Dang. Well, I could go on forever talking about LL Cool J's thing. He's I bet it was really hard for him to give up wearing Kangol. Took a long time, didn't it? He said there was all sorts of rumours. I remember him being on an interview with Jeff Young on Radio 1. And they said, like, the hat is your signature thing, the Kangol. And he's like, yeah, people think I've got a weird shaped head or I've got metal plates or something, which is why I won't show my head. But he said, it's just my thing. But yeah, what the heck. I'm glad LL Cool J's stayed on the straight and narrow. Ultramagnetic's still going. Wow. Brilliant. Cool Keith. Lots of aliases. Didn't know that. But yeah, you kind of wonder what's going on with all these other bands. You still got like the original. You've got Grandmaster Flash still doing stuff, and Melly Mel and Furious Five, and the remaining members of those groups are still touring and stuff. I'd love to see Grandmaster Flash. Did I see him? I went to that Tramshed gig. Melly Mel, Furious 5. Maybe Grandmaster Flash was there. I can't remember. I got my photo taken with Melly Mel. Yeah. Oh, the Beastie Boys called it a day, have they? Okay. Yeah, MCA was... I loved Ad Rock because he sounded unlike... and MCA had a really good sort of, hard, aggressive voice. I thought he was quite cool. I've got some voice messages popping up. We're coming up to an hour. I think I might have to bugger off. I have had up to 7 viewers watching, but only 2 of you... Oh, sorry, I just see a Purple Fido. Sorry, I missed that comment. There are some people lurking, obviously. Tonight I've been talking about my Big Bot Bash robot and giving you a quick breakdown of where I am so far with him. He needs legs and arms, obviously, but he's getting there. I have been talking about my hopes for the future and to do something musical before I shuffle off this mortal coil. And obviously other art projects and stuff that I want to get going and, try and do this year. So who knows? I should go now because I've got a chapter. It's quite a short chapter, but I've got a chapter of the audiobook that I'm nearly finished with. I'm on chapter, is it 48? 49 of 50. I think it was 56 or 58. Let's have a quick look. They're very short chapters, but some of them, they vary in length, you know, so let's quickly down here. Dum 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 dum. What's the last? There's an epilogue, which is 1 page, and then the final chapter just before the epilogue is 58. Yeah. So I've got to crack on, try and get a chapter a day done for the author, Andy. He's a very good, a very nice guy. And then we'll be moving on to the second book in the series. He's written 7 books so far about this one cop, this CSI officer, and I'm voicing him in this kind of voice. Z-Man! Better late than never. Yeah, I'm about to go. I did say an hour. I've got a couple of hours of work ahead of me right now, like for the audiobook. But glad you made it. I'm going to... I'll do another live soon. I don't want to do much longer than an hour, because what happens is people don't watch them and it doesn't help the algorithms. People get bored. They don't. I'm not going to sit there for an hour and watch Terry waffling. So I should go now. I'll do another live soon, because lives do help my watch hours. You know, the valid watch hours in the algorithm, which will push me up. Before I go, I would like to say thank you to everyone who watched, all 7 of you, including myself, Purple Fido, Matthew H, Emma, and Z-Man. And Z-Man, I've just talked about my robot that I'm currently building for the Big Bot Bash, so that should be fun. And some musical Rap T stuff. Z-Man's got all my Rapster T stuff, which is crazy. Yeah, nearly there. I'd like to thank anyone who's subscribed. I'm now up to 690 subscribers, which is great. I never thought I'd get back up there. I did have something like that before, when I used to do a lot of Jack Sparrow stuff, but they all like rats left a sinking ship when I decided to stop doing Jack Sparrow, which is understandable. I tell you what, if I can get, when I get to 700 viewers, 700, or shall I leave it till I get to 1,000, and I'll do a Jack Sparrow live stream. That'd be quite funny. Anyway, I got work to do, so thank you guys and gal for watching, and the lurkers, thanks for watching. Please think of subscribing. That would be awfully cool of you. And together we shall take over the world. And then, yeah, some potentially new Rap T tunes coming this year, hopefully. So we'll see how that pans out. Keep it here, everyone. I'm going to go now. And I can never hit the end stream button without it cutting off the end of my voice. I don't know how that happens. I tried it last time. I waited 20 seconds after hitting end stream, and it still cut off. I still went, and it cut off my last few words. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm just going to wave at the screen for a good 25 seconds and see what happens. I should say goodbye.